What up, people? And lots of crazy things are happening all around the world. And for that reason, I'm here with the top 10 most ruthless African dictators of all time. Welcome to the Kuulpeeps Top 10 show, the world's #1 entertainment show. And you know who I am, your favorite host, The Voice. Stay with me. Number 10 on the list is Yaya Jammeh. He was the leader of the Gambia from 1994 to 2017, even though he was actually the president from 1996 to 2017. His time in office saw the authoritarian oppression of anti-government journalists, LGBT people, and opposition parties. Jammeh is accused of having stolen millions of dollars from the country's coffers to fund a life of luxury. He is also believed to have had some superpowers. I mean, nobody knows how true it is. After leaving office, his assets were frozen by many countries and he went into exile. In addition to charges of corruption and human rights violations, he is also accused of having raped a number of young women. Obiang of Equatorial Guinea is at number 9. He is currently the second longest serving African ruler. He overthrew and subsequently executed his own uncle and the country's previous dictator Francisco Nguema. Abuses under Obiang have included killings by security forces, government-sanctioned kidnappings, impunity, arbitrary arrest, detention, and incommunicado detention. In July 2003, a state-operated radio declared Obiang the country's god, with all power over man and things. It's added that the president was in permanent contact with the Almighty. Hey, Charlie. And can decide to kill without anyone calling him to account and without going to hell. He personally made similar comments in 1993. Equatorial Guinea is back again at number 8 with Francisco Macías Nguema. Yes, you heard his name. At number 9, he was executed by his own nephew. Francisco was the first president of Equatorial Guinea from 1968 until his overthrow and subsequent execution in 1979. For whatever reason, this man had issues with the intellectual class. In self-esteem there, I don't know, Charlie, is down in the drains. The president's paranoid actions included mandating the death of those who wore spectacles, banning the use of the word intellectual, and destroying boats to stop his people fleeing from his rule. Fishing was also banned. The only road out of the country on the mainland was also used for mining. By the end of his rule, nearly all of the country's educated class were either executed or forced into exile. At number 7 is Omar al-Bashir of Sudan. Omar served as the 7th president of Sudan from 1989 to 2019 when he was deposed in a coup d'etat. He was indicted by the International Criminal Court (ICC) for allegedly directing a campaign of mass killing, rape and pillage against civilians in Darfur, Sudan. Hissène Habré of Chad is at number 6. Hissène served as the president of Chad from 1982 until he was deposed in 1990. A commission of inquiry formed in Chad after he was deposed said his government carried out some 40,000 politically motivated murders and 200,000 cases of torture in the 8 years he was in power. Wow, Charlie, some people eat. Some survivors said the most common forms of torture were electric shocks near asphyxia, cigarette burns, and having gas squirted into their eyes. Hey, Charlie. Sometimes the torturers would place the exhaust pipe of a vehicle in their mouths, then start the engine. Some detainees were also placed in a room with decomposing bodies. Fam. Yo. Sani Abacha is at number 5. Sani Abacha ruled Nigeria with an iron grip from 1993 to 1998. In September 1994, he issued a decree that placed his government above the jurisdiction of the courts, effectively giving him absolute power. Another decree gave him the right to detain anyone for up to 3 months without trial. He was the epitome of brutality and was responsible for the imprisonment and executions of many of his opponents. He embezzled between $1 billion to $5 billion from the coffers of Nigeria. Jean-Bédel Bokassa of Central African Republic is at number 4. He was the self-crowned emperor of the Central African Republic until he was ousted in 1979. He was a narcissist and had an insatiable appetite for power and authority. In 1987, he was cleared of all charges of cannibalism, but he was found guilty of the murder of school children and other crimes. Charlie, why you kill children? The death sentence given him was later commuted to life in solitary confinement, but he was freed in 1993. Charles Taylor is at number 3. He was the 22nd president of Liberia from August 1997 until his resignation in August 2003. During his term of office, Taylor was accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity as a result of his involvement in the Sierra Leone Civil War. He was also found guilty of aiding and abetting a notoriously brutal rebel force who murdered, raped, forced sexual slavery, built a child army, and mined diamonds to pay for guns. Charlie. Mobutu Sese Seko of the Democratic Republic of Congo is at number 2. He was president of the DRC from 1965 to 1997. He publicly executed political rivals, coup plotters, and other threats to his rule. He set an example. Most of them were hanged before large audiences. Mobutu owned a fleet of Mercedes-Benz vehicles that he used to travel from his numerous palaces, whilst the nation's roads deteriorated and many of his people starved. The infrastructure virtually collapsed and many public service workers went months without being paid. He also apparently forced all television stations to start the evening news with an image of him descending through the clouds from the heavens. And finally, the most ruthless of all the evil dictators at number 1 is Idi Amin Dada of Uganda. Idi Amin tops the list. He was the president of Uganda between 1971 and 1979. It is believed that he murdered more than 500,000 people, including foreign investors, opposition leaders, and archbishops. It is alleged that he ate human flesh and raped almost all the beautiful girls surrounding his palace. He gave himself numerous titles, including His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal El-Haji, Dr. Idi Amin VCDSOMC, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the sea, and Conqueror of the British Empire in Africa. Why the hell does anybody need all these names, and why must one be this evil? And that's how we wrap it all up for today. I am not excited, but this is what history has to teach us. I'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of the Kuulpeeps Top 10 Show, the world's #1 entertainment show. And you know who I am, your favorite host. Yes, like, comment, share, subscribe, and put somebody on this. See ya.